Hello everyone, a very good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all of my viewers from different time zones around the world. This is your host Vaibhav. In today's session of JForex Indicators Explain, I will be explaining to you one interesting indicator. This is an indicator which is used to filter out the noise in the price movements of the underlying instrument. It can be used on currencies, currency crosses, indices, commodities, or other financial products like stocks, derivatives, and etc. So you can use it to filter out the noise, and its name itself contains the word filter. The name is Butterworth filter. This was developed by one of a well-known technical analyst, John Ehlers, and it was described in one of his books. I think the name is Rocket Science for the Traders. I'm not precise here. I was just reading about this indicator, so I got to know about it more. Now, for this session, the purpose is to explain its uses, how we can customize this indicator to arrive at a formation that is likely to give us profitable trading signals. Of course, when we target the profitable trading signals, the motive is to arrive at a combination which will have at least more than 50% profitability chances. Probability of making money should be higher than losing money. That is always the target. And as we all know, we can't really reach 100%. I think the threshold of 60 to 70% should be good enough, and then the risk reward ratio should take care of the rest. So now we head to the JForex platform, which has been developed by the Dukascopy Bank SA to give you a seamless trading experience with one of the lowest spread on the financial product. So you can experience these trading platform. All you have to do is go to the site and download from there on. Even in my bio I have included the link, so you can find it there also. For finding this indicator, all you have to do is go to the overlap studies and you will find it listed just below these Bollinger Bands. In prior sessions I had explained to you the use of Bollinger Bands. Now this session is dedicated to the uses of Butterworth filter. Else, if you don't know where it is exactly, you can simply do a quick search. All you have to do is type in its name, and even if you type in the butter, you will have the more than butter, Butterworth filter. All right. From the look of it, you can make it out that this is more like a moving average, but only the thing is that it is a lot more smoother. The curves are a lot more smoother compared to what we get when we use the moving average, various moving average. If you work with the SMA, EMA, or other type of moving average, we will have a lot more smoothing. This indicator's purpose when it was developed is precisely that, to cancel out the noise to the extent possible. You can't really cancel out all the time, but as far as possible, this indicator tries to do that. So there is more approximation of the price formation. You can use it to determine the trend, how the underlying instrument is moving in the given time period. So you will get a good idea if the sentiments are bullish, bearish, or simply sideways. There is not much of a trend, and if the prices are moving in a narrow range, then you will have it moving almost flat like it happened. So the inclination is slightly upward, but it is mostly flat in this scenario. So you can make your informed judgment as per this first look of the indicator. Now coming to its uses, I will not dwell into its calculation, formulation, how it is, how its output value is arrived at. For that, you will have to do bit of search on any of the search engine, and you will get the precise formula. This session is more dedicated to finding out its various editing properties and customization options available on the platform, so you can make best case scenario, best possible uses of this indicator in any scenario. Now this is the default setup. So the calculation period is 34, and this is the euro usd chart with the candle period being hourly, and we have this plotting for us, and it gives us a pretty much good idea of what the trend is. Then there are various ways you can take the advantage of this information. If you want to use it just like the moving average, then you can make a case that it is better to go for a long trade when we have this indicator inching higher. When these Butterworth values are on the rise, then it is higher probability trade if we were to go long in it. And if we see that the Butterworth the indicator plotting is in the declining phase, then it is a better idea to go for short selling opportunities whenever we see it consolidating closer to this value, the median line of the Butterworth filter. And if we don't really see it breaking on the opposite side, then I think in that scenario we can pretty much go short in it. So that is one classical interpretation. You can also use it to make a crossover if you use two different calculation period based Butterworth filter. Suppose if you change the calculation period of these Butterworth filter to say higher value, and then you plot another one with the lower calculation period, you will get a combination of sort. So you can make a crossover kind of structure. And whenever you have the smaller time frame Butterworth filter crossing over or below the larger time frame Butterworth filter, you can make the trading decision based on that also. I will now change it to say lower time frame 14. Okay, so here I have these two Butterworth filters plotted, and depending on the calculation period under consideration, the price formation is going to be interesting. Whenever we have this lower time frame Butterworth filter plotted, you will observe that its responsiveness is going to be a lot quicker compared to the responsiveness of this higher time frame Butterworth indicator, simply because it will follow the price moves of the recent fluctuations a lot more quickly. And one interesting observation you can say is that even if we have these topsy-turvy moves where the range is narrow, but still we have these higher moves, lower moves. So if this kind of formation is there when we have the higher highs and higher lows formation, we get this Butterworth filter, and we get a good idea that the underlying momentum is bullish on this lower time frame. So we can make the trading decisions, and you will be in position to make good amount of money if you simply go for the long trade when we have the Butterworth filter values on the rise, and if you go for a long trade after consolidation closer to this median plotted line. And similarly, if it is in decline, now here if you were to wait for the consolidation and not go for the trade straight away, even here we wouldn't really have suffered losses. And even in this kind of scenario, I think the losses will be minimal. And even if those losses happen, we can make it back whenever we will have better opportunities coming our way. And if the range is large, but the underlying instrument is not really going anywhere, then we will have this kind of scenario where the moves are large, but it is not going anywhere. And because of that, even here on the lower time frame, we will have a lot of noise. In that case, we have to take into consideration the larger time frame. So it really depends on the range. If the range is narrow, and if the moves are also not that sharp, then I think the Butterworth filter was better for finding out the trend of the indicator. But if the moves are sharp on the lower time frame, then it is not really going to work. Then we will have to consider the larger time frame indicator to determine the trend. So we have to take these various possibilities into account while making the trading decisions, and only after that we will be in position to take the calculated risk. So this is one of the combination I was explaining to you. Now let's remove this to make the chart look less cluttered. All right, so this is the 50 period Butterworth filter, and now coming to its editing options. So let's see what more can be done with this interesting indicator. Pardon me. We can go for different applied prices. This was based on the applied price being closing price. So if we change the applied price of the calculation, we will have the Butterworth filter indicator plotted on the different output prices. So please pay attention to this line. It will shift depending on what kind of applied price is being used. If I use open price, then it has shifted slightly on the lower side. Now when I'm using the higher time frame, high price as the applied price, it has shifted on the higher side. If I were to use low price, it has substantially moved lower. So all these kind of changes can be observed. Now it is simply the median price half of the sum of high and the low price. So it is going to be closer to the median price, typical price, where we take into consideration all the three important price moves of the underlying instruments: candlestick formation, the high, the low, and the closing price. Then we divide it by 3. All right. Now coming to this weighted close price, we give more weightage to the closing price. So we have arrived at this HLCC, the all these three prices with more weight being given to the closing price, then division is done by 4. So we arrive at this combination. Okay, now varying this calculation period gives us very different type of formation for the plotting of the Butterworth filter. Now if I increase it to the 100, you will see that there is going to be substantial lag, and the plotting is going to be a lot more smoother. You get a good idea of the trend of the underlying instrument, but most of the time what we will observe that it will take significant amount of time for the trend change to be detected on the Butterworth filter when you are using larger time frame. But it is going to be a lot more smoother, and it is of course going to be a lot more reliable if you are a trader who trades based on the larger time frame data. So in that scenario, you will be making trades which will be lot fewer in frequency, but those are likely to be more profitable, and you can take big swing trades using this kind of formation. So depending on your time horizon of the particular trade, you have to determine which signals to take and which signals to ignore. So for that, you can take into consideration this formation of Butterworth. All right. Now let us see, when we reduce it to say 24, it will be taking the one whole day's data, and then you can take the signal as comprising of the whole day's move, and you can make informed decisions what the trend is for that particular day. All right. So we now have these input combinations explained. We go to the output value. So if you want to make it look more aesthetic, we can change it. We can change the color combination, all these color combinations, or even you can go for a custom combination. Let's take this sky blue and let's see how it looks like. You can go for two different combinations for the trend up and trend down. So that is also a possibility with this indicator. So it will be a lot more easier to see and detect the trend. You don't really have to pay that close attention, and you can also have these transparency values determined and defined. So if you are plotting multiple indicators, then you can opt for the lower transparency setting, and you will have all these indicators on the chart, but it will be in background. It won't be much prominent. So you can do multiple layering with multiple indicators, and still the chart would look quite fine, and you will be able to take in a lot more data. So here we have this downtrend defined by this brownish color, whereas this uptrend is defined by this slight blue line. So we have these easier to read signals being generated by the indicator, and the chart is also looking a lot more aesthetic. So that is the purpose behind giving all these editing options for input and output. Then coming to the levels, we don't really have any options, and for additional customization, you can opt for these advanced options, you can go for these recalculate on new candle only. So when you opt for this, the plotting will remain constant, and we will have these plotting remaining constant for whole of the candle period. But if you don't really opt for this, then it will keep varying for this whole duration of the candle, depending on the current closing value of that particular candle. If we want the calculation period to be highlighted, you can opt for this, so it will be easier for you to see what is the calculation period being considered whenever you are using this indicator. Then coming to the other options, we can customize the calculation data. So for that, you can opt for this instrument from the chart. So whenever you use the different instrument for on the chart, it will be plotted for that instrument also. But if you keep it fixed to the Euro USD, then when you change the chart to say USD JPY, it won't be plotted for the USD JPY. No, I think it has been plotted. So let us go back to the editing option. All right, so now it has changed to the USD JPY, so that's not really how it works. So if you opt for the use from the chart, whenever you change this instrument, it will be plotted for the other instrument as well. Coming to the calculation period, you can use it from the chart, so it will be plotted for whatever is the charting period. But if you keep it fixed to say, for example, 15 minutes, then it will be plotted for the 15 minutes regardless of the chart's calculation period, chart's candle period. Now there is the USD JPY chart, and we have this Euro USD's plotting of the Butterworth filter. It is taking a bit time. Okay, now it has appeared. So this is the Butterworth filter being calculated with considering only 15 minutes candle, even though the chart is having the candle period of hourly, and it is taking into consideration 24 15 minutes candles. So that means the data is only for 6 hours on the hourly time frame. All right. Now I'll restore it to use from the chart side. Similarly, can be anything, ask or bid, or you can simply use it from the chart. Show indicator on all periods. So whenever I change the candle period to say 2 hours or 4 hours, it will be there. But if we opt out of this, it will be shown only on the given candle period and not on other time frames. Now if I change it to the 15 minutes, there won't be any plotting. So that's how this system works. All right. We have now GBP USD. Coming to other options, the base period can be from all these 5 options, none, or you can go for from 4 hours to 1 month, and we don't really see much of a change being observed on these plotting of the Butterworth filter. So these are the options using which you can make a good customization possible for looking after the trading opportunities, and you can then make the informed trading decision. So this is it from my side for today's session. If you have any query or any idea to share, you can write to me in the feedback section, and I would be more than happy to take the discussion forward. For further coverage of the market developments, do check out the Dukascopy Analytics page. We are also available on the Facebook. You can reach out to us there too. And as I said in the session earlier also, the link for the platform is also included in the bio. So do check it out and let me know how it works. I will be back tomorrow with a new indicator, new formation, new combination. Till then, stay tuned. See you tomorrow. Have a good time. Goodbye.